Following the road east from Nipton, we come upon a town called Camp Searchlight. Just outside the western part of the town is a small NCR camp. Here we find First Sergeant Astor patrolling the area. He warns us not to enter Camp Searchlight.
Some legionaries snuck into the camp and set off some kind of radiation bomb. I don't know where they got it, but it was damn effective. Killed almost everyone and turned the rest into ghouls. I was out on patrol at the time, so I wasn't in the camp when it happened. There were a few others with me after it happened, including some of my superiors. Between radiation poisoning and attacks by the Legion, they all died out. Those poor bastards. I can't imagine how they must be suffering. I'd like to put them out of their misery, but I don't have the heart to do it.
The Legion detonated some sort of radiation bomb. Sounds like an impressive piece of technology. We can ask him if he needs any help.
I want you to put down the troopers that changed, turned into ghouls. Those boys aren't themselves anymore. They're in pain, and you don't let good men suffer like that. Those troopers deserve a clean death. Could you bring me their dog tags? Some of the troopers should still be wearing them. I'll give you some caps for each one you bring back to me. There's an old rifle in it for you if you can bring me at least 10. Oh, then take these radiation supplies. You'll need them.
Lying on a table inside First Sergeant Astor's camp is the man's log. The sergeant is overwhelmed after the devastation of Camp Searchlight. We already know that he's devastated that so many of his fellow soldiers have been turned into ghouls. He's taking it upon himself to make sure that nobody wanders into the camp and gets killed like his fellow soldiers, which is why he and the remaining NCR soldiers patrol the outskirts of the town. But he doesn't eat, he doesn't sleep. He says, so far I've been able to maintain enough energy, but he wonders how long he can keep it up. This radiation bomb from Caesar's Legion affected more than just the NCR. If you walk west up the hill from Camp Searchlight, you come upon the Matthews Animal Husbandry farm. This looks like a large farm. We find animals all over the place, but not a human in sight. The animals themselves are scrawny and malnourished, the bighorners and the Brahmin. They look like they're starving. In the southernmost barn, on the stairs leading to the top floor, we find torn diary page number 1. Dear Diary, Mom and Dad went into the NCR camp nearby to trade for supplies, but they haven't come back yet. I hope nothing bad has happened to them. The only NCR camp nearby is Camp Searchlight. We already know what happened there. We can only hope for the best. In the back of the blue pickup truck, parked just outside, is torn diary page number 2. I took a chance today and left the animals alone to go look for Mom and Dad. I found them in that camp. They had become horrible feral ghouls. I didn't know what to do. They came at me so fast. Oh God, what have I done? In the northern barn, we can climb the stairs to the loft, and sitting on a crate is torn diary page number 3. I hate being all alone. I want my mom and dad back, but I can't have them back because I killed them. I didn't want to kill them, but I had to kill them. Otherwise, they would have eaten me. I hope the animals don't eat me. Can animals become ghouls? On a crate next to where we found this letter, we find a Sunset Sarsaparilla Star bottle cap. And lying on the loft floor is a copy of the Wasteland Survival Guide. This poor boy is tormented over what he was forced to do. But the animals, they're not ghouls. God, I hope he doesn't do anything drastic. But then when we look east, out the door from this barn, we see the family home burned to a crisp. We approach slowly, dreading what we know we're going to find. On the ground, next to a blasted-out refrigerator, lies a skeleton and a note. The animals, they're evil. They tried to eat me in my sleep. Now that Mom and Dad are gone, they want the farm for themselves. They are plotting against me, plotting to eat me. They are becoming ghouls like my parents, and they want to eat me like my parents did. Too many of them to kill them all. I know what I'll do. I'll burn the house down around me. Then the animals can't eat me, because there will be nothing left for them to eat. This is the skeleton of a poor boy whose parents were turned into feral ghouls by Caesar's legion. These parents weren't NCR soldiers. These parents herded animals. They were farmers. And nearby we see that the son, who obviously loved his parents, tried to bury them with as much dignity as he could. Their graves lie freshly dug with 2 crosses marking their place. But there was no one left to bury this boy. Now he's just a charred skeleton lying in the ruins of his home. We can't bring back this boy or his parents, but is there anything we can do at Camp Searchlight to make the world a little bit better? Well, we agreed to go into Camp Searchlight and to put the NCR troopers who have been turned into ghouls out of their misery. While we're here, let's see if we can figure out exactly what this radiation bomb is and how the Legion got their hands on it. The NCR troopers have truly become ghouls. They attack you just like any other ghouls. The only difference is that they wear NCR uniforms. The radiation has rotted their minds and they can't distinguish friend from foe. Also in the camp, we find these weird high-tech looking machines. These are Mark III turrets. We can find terminals scattered all over the town that allow you to turn these on. You need science of 50 or more to activate the turrets, which will greatly help when trying to kill all the ghouls in this town. Sadly, my science was not that high, so I wasn't able to activate them. As we hunt for more NCR trooper ghouls, we find a big busted out church on the western side of town. In the back of the church, we find a cellar that leads to the church basement. Here we come upon a number of prospectors in the basement looking for salvage.
All I know is the whole place is filled with radiation. There are nasty creatures roaming about, and that my employer is paying me a pretty penny to loot it. Some caravan company, Crimson something or other. Some old broad said they were looking to expand their business, be more competitive or some shit. I don't really care, so long as I get paid. Look, if you really want to help, either get the fuck out of our way or hack that damn computer over there. The location of some radiation suits. I found an inventory list that says they should be here, but I can't seem to find them anywhere. The computer should know what happened to them.
Logan says that he was sent here by the Crimson Caravan Company, but he's a surly kind of fellow. However, I'd hate to see them all die due to radiation. Just like Logan said, we find an average locked terminal in the back of this room. Here we find notes that the NCR took before they were all killed by the Legion. The entries tell us that somebody is stealing shipments from the NCR. The author of this note says that he was investigating the missing shipments when he found a traveler on the road who said that he saw some people not in NCR uniforms escorting supplies away from Camp Searchlight. The traveler said that the men took the supplies towards the Nipton area. If the radiation suits were ever on the way to Camp Searchlight, they must be in that shipment. We can report our findings to Logan.
Tell you what, bring us those suits and you can come with us while we loot the town. You can keep a share.
Well, this is a bit of a distraction from our primary task. We're trying to kill all the ghouls in this town. However, I could really use a radiation suit. The radiation in Camp Searchlight is absolutely kicking my butt. Rad-X is just not enough. My character is about to turn into a ghoul. So let's head on over to Nipton. Now, Nipton is still a wasteland with bodies piled high in the streets. Remember, the Legion came to this town, killing everyone in town who did not have winning numbers. However, we remember after our last visit that there is one man here still alive. Inside the general store, we can talk to boxcars.
I saw some Legion assholes carrying crates to a cave north of here. May have been NCR shit. I don't fucking know.
Boxcars, as always, has his charming personality, but at least his information is useful. Heading north out of town, we can climb some steep hills, killing raiders along the way, until we finally arrive at a cave. Just outside, we find a hidden compartment in one of the rocks with a small stash of ammunition. Inside the locked cage, we find a radiation suit and a radiation suit package. The radiation suit is for you, the package is for Logan and his prospectors back in Camp Searchlight. On the ground near these crates, we find one of the lottery tickets from Nipton. This tells us that the people who likely put these stolen supplies in this cache were the very legionaries who sacked Nipton. The radiation suit is nice. It gives us an additional plus 30 radiation resistance, but it's not enough. We're going to have to be on Rad-X the entire time we're in Camp Searchlight. Back in Searchlight, we can go back to the bunker beneath the church and deliver the radiation suits to Logan and his friends.
It's about damn time. You ready to go? We're gonna check out the police and fire stations. They were the buildings used most by the NCR, so they're our best chance at good shit. I found the keys on one of the trooper corpses.
We can ask him what he's looking for, but he's vague. He just says anything of value.
Anything that's valuable. You done with the questions yet?
Well, we can go along with Logan for now. I'm sure his help will be quite useful. Back outside, we get swarmed by even more ghouls in the middle of town. Some of these will have dog tags and others will not. Waiting to clear the town until you have Logan and his prospectors helping you may be a good idea if you don't have the science high enough, like me, to activate the turrets. At least this way you have a few more guns helping you out. Now Logan is only giving you one key at a time. He gives us the key to the police station, so we'll head there first. Immediately upon entry, we get attacked by more ghouls. And to make matters worse, it is completely pitch black. We can find a switch that turns on the lights in this police station through one of the doors leading to a crumbling staircase. This will allow us to turn off our torch. We find ourselves in a computer bank. It's an odd layout with 2 terminals on each desk. Most of them cannot be interacted with, but there are a few that can, but these are non-functional. After clearing the rest of the ghouls from the police station, we can start to look for the salvage that Logan was looking for. There's a lot of great stuff in here, but in order to get what you need to complete the quest, look inside the desks that are set out in a crescent with the terminals on them. Here we'll find some uniquely named NCR scrap and salvage. We also find a few unique NCR named weapons, like the NCR grenade rifle. Any item that has the name NCR in front of it is what you need before we can finish looting the police station. Once done, we can go back to Logan to get the key to the fire station.
All right, we can move now. Here's the key to the fire station.
Back outside, as soon as we leave the police station, we get attacked by more ghouls.
Come on! You like that?
The fire station is easy to find. It's got 2 big fire trucks posted outside. As we get near, even more ghouls will swarm us from the alleyways. By now, we should have a whole lot of irradiated NCR dog tags. However, we don't have 10. Remember, the sergeant wants us to come back with 10 before he'll reward us with a service rifle. Where could this final dog tag be? Maybe we'll find it in the fire station. Upon entry, we come face to face with a giant scorpion. It's a relief to have the prospectors and a couple of companions here because these are nasty creatures indeed. But with the help of VATS, we can take them down fairly easily. In the middle of the garage, we find an interesting scene. There are 2 flatbed trucks carrying a bunch of canisters. A few of them have been opened, and on the ground are the corpses of 2 legionaries. As we get closer, our Geiger counter goes crazy. Even with the suit on and using Rad-X, we are getting 6, 7, 8 rads per second. This must be the source of the radiation. Ground zero for whatever radiation bomb Caesar's Legion set off in Camp Searchlight. We can learn more by exploring the corpses of the legionaries. On their bodies, we find the Legion orders, and we learn that Vulpes Inculta, the leader of the Frumentari, and the very man whom we killed at Nipton, personally sent these legionaries here knowing that these canisters would be in the fire station. He did not tell the legionaries that they were going to their own death. Examining the scene, we see that these legionaries died almost immediately upon opening these canisters. Vulpes Inculta sent these men to their own deaths. So these canisters of radiation were here to begin with. How did the NCR not know about this? And what were they doing there? Have they been here for over 200 years? Well, we can't stick around here much longer or we're going to die. So instead we can leave the garage and enter the fire station. This takes us upstairs Turning down the left hallway, we enter what must have been the chief's office. We can unlock his terminal to finally get the answer to our question. On the morning of October 23rd, 2077, the fire chief heard the detonation of the nuclear bombs dropped by China. Almost immediately after, the police showed up, escorting several trucks filled with nuclear waste. These trucks were on their way from San Onofre to dispose of the nuclear waste when the bombs dropped. But now the roads are in chaos and they need a place to store this toxic waste until things calm down. So the fire chief opened up the doors to his fire department for 2 of the trucks, but there was a third one, and we don't find that third one here. That's because the chief says that the fire station had no more room, so he sent the third truck filled with toxic waste to nearby Cottonwood Cove. Somehow the Legion discovered that this fire station had those 2 trucks filled with toxic waste. They killed all of the NCR soldiers in this camp simply by breaking into the fire station and opening them. But we're here with Logan looking for scrap and salvage. In the bathroom, we find the uniquely named fire axe called Knock Knock. It doesn't have any bonus effects or interesting stats. It's just a uniquely named fire axe. But we can loot the fire axes hanging on the wall in the garage downstairs to repair Knock Knock to get it back up into working condition. The supplies that Logan needs are in the bunk room. Here we find a couple of cots with duffel bags at the foot of the bed, and this is what we need to give to Logan. I'm sure he'll be pleased that we've found a bunch of wonderful salvage here in the fire department.
All right, thanks for the help. Time to die, loser.
After you did all that work for him, he takes the goods and attacks. But he, like you, is wearing a radiation suit, which reduced his armor, making him fairly easy to kill. His cohort is in a nearby room, and we'll have to kill him as well. Be sure to loot the 2 radiation suits you get on these corpses so that you can repair the one that you have. He also has some valuable reinforced leather armor, which is going to be much lighter than any metal armor you can find. And if you want, you can loot the NCR computer and radio parts that you collected for this quest. However, they don't really do anything and you can't drop them. So I recommend that you just leave them here. Well, it's a tragic end to Logan. He should have known better. What was he thinking? But you know what? We still have a job to do. We have to find that final NCR dog tag to give back to the sergeant. Now, we've already explored most of this town, but there are still a few places. Near the church is a big red schoolhouse, and inside we find a bunch of geckos. The schoolhouse has some toys and some chems, but no NCR ghouls, no dead corpses, no dog tags. There is a second church in town on the eastern side. Like the western church, it too has a basement. In the basement, we find even more geckos. But nothing much else except a Chinese special ops book that grants us +3 to sneak permanently. Heading back outside, we can explore the outskirts of the town, and we do find a few NCR ghouls walking around, but none of the ghouls I killed out here had any of the dog tags. However, switching to my local map, I found the entrance to a house hidden near the church. Winding through some alleyways, we finally come to the door to the Searchlight home. Inside, lying on one of the beds, we find a man named Private Edwards.
Who the hell are you? Better yet, what the hell are you doing in this cursed place? You know what? Forget it. It doesn't matter. Welcome to Camp Searchlight, the shittiest place on Earth. I'm Private Kyle Edwards, former NCR trooper. That damn radiation bomb got me. I can't serve the NCR like this. I don't really know the details of it. It all happened too quickly. I remember being hit by a blast of energy. Next thing I know, I wake up like this. I've been staying in this house ever since. I don't know much about what's going on outside, aside from the creatures that moved in since then.
So, this is where we get the final dog tag. But this man is still using his dog tag. He's not feral yet. Now, we could simply kill him and take the dog tag, but let's explore some of the other options here.
Sorry, I'm not about to give it up. It's the only thing I have left that reminds me of who I was.
If we have a speech of 60 or higher, we can convince him that holding on to worthless, worldly trinkets like dog tags doesn't reconnect him with the man that he was. His humanity is part of him, not the dog tag.
You're probably right. Here, take it.
He goes back to sleep, and we can go back to the sergeant to complete the quest. But there are a few more ways we can complete this quest. We can tell him that the sergeant wants to kill him to end his suffering.
He wants to kill me? What did I ever do to him? Suffering? I may be suffering, but I still want to live. You tell that bastard that I have every intention of doing so.
And then we can convince him to go and attack the sergeant.
You're right. I should.
He runs outside and heads straight for Sergeant Astor's camp. Along the way, 3 other ghouls, one of whom is a glowing one, joins Private Edwards in the charge. Together, the 4 of them attack the sergeant and the other troopers who were on their patrol. If he does, Private Edwards and Sergeant Astor and his men engage in a fierce gunfight. I was actually surprised that the private lasted as long as he did. With 4 or 5 other men shooting at him, Private Edwards had the wherewithal to hide strategically, and he lasted a good 2 or 3 minutes before they finally blew his head off. Once dead, we can loot his dog tags from his corpse. But there are even more ways to get these dog tags. Remember those rad scorpions that we found in the fire department? There are more wandering around the town which we avoided, and poor Private Edwards is scared of them.
Rad scorpions. Fuckers creep the hell out of me. I'm not going outside while they're still crawling around.
That's why he's been hiding in this house. But we can tell him, whether it's true or a lie, that we've already killed the rad scorpions.
Thanks for your help. I can finally get out of this place.
If we do, he thanks us and leaves the house. But when we leave, we find these big rad scorpions waiting for us. 3 huge rad scorpions right by the door ambush us, forcing us into vats.
I can't feel my lips.
When they are dealt with, we see that the rad scorpions have indeed killed Private Edwards, and we can loot the tag from his corpse. The final way to resolve this situation is to encourage Private Edwards to not give up hope.
I'm not so sure about that. I don't know how the NCR feels about ghouls. I'm here because I have nowhere else to go.
There must be some place you could go, buddy.
Believe me, I'd love to leave. But I can't because I don't know what effect the radiation will have on me.
But ghouls are immune to radiation.
Yeah, but I don't want to go feral. And that's probably what more radiation would do to me.
But there's still radiation in your house.
Look, just leave me alone. I'm not going outside.
He says he's thought about going back to the NCR. He's just not sure if the NCR would take him. With this information, we can go back to Sergeant Astor and pry him for answers. Would the NCR really reject him just for being a ghoul?
Who's Private Edwards? If he's a ghoul, he should be put down. I can't let a rabid dog suffer.
But he isn't feral.
Doesn't mean he isn't suffering. Or that he won't go feral eventually.
Come on, isn't there some place he could go?
Well, there's a ranger station north of here that has a few ghouls running it. Maybe they'll take him in.
Ranger Station Echo is actually fairly close to Camp Searchlight, led by Ranger Erasmus. And just as Sergeant Astor thought, the other rangers stationed here are all ghouls, wearing very dapper authority glasses. So it looks like the NCR does employ ghouls after all. Ghouls may make most people, even NCR soldiers, uncomfortable, but at least the NCR still recognizes their humanity. Knowing this, we can now go back to Private Edwards and tell him that yes, there is indeed a place for him in the NCR.
There's a ranger station run by ghouls? Finally, I feel like I have a place to go. Thanks for your help.
Private Edwards gives you his holotag and then races off towards Ranger Station Echo. With the 10th holotag in hand, we can finally go back to Sergeant Astor to complete the quest.
Thank you for the help. I can rest easier knowing those poor soldiers no longer have to suffer.
If we go back to Ranger Station Echo in the future, we find Private Edwards there, safe, sound, and healthy. Well, as healthy as a ghoul can be. But there's something still perplexing me here. There were only 2 trucks in the fire station filled with nuclear waste, but the terminal that we read inside the firehouse told us that there was a 3rd truck, and it was at a place called Cottonwood Cove. I wonder if we can find it. To get to Cottonwood Cove, we follow the road out of Camp Searchlight east. At length, the road splits. It goes down towards Cottonwood Cove and up to the Cottonwood Overlook. We're going to have a better view of the surroundings if we go to the Overlook first. So heading up the southern path to the Overlook, we walk behind a bunch of buildings until at last we find a big truck perched on the cliff overlooking Cottonwood Cove. Now we can't see in it, but as we get closer to the truck, our Geiger counter goes berserk. This must be the 3rd truck filled with nuclear waste. It's been sitting here above Cottonwood Cove for 200 years. Now Cottonwood Cove below is swarming with legionaries. Before doing a frontal assault, let's head back to Sergeant Astor and ask him if he knows anything about Cottonwood Cove.
The Rangers at Echo have been keeping an eye on that place. It's relatively new, but those bastards have already dug in. They appear to be running a slave trading operation, and it also seems to be one of the primary crossing points for Legion raiding parties. If you could scout out the camp, bring back any intel on troop movement or plans for future raids, the Rangers could put that information to good use. Also, if you're any good at covert ops, I would love to get a bug planted on their radio. So far, we've been unable to crack their encryption. Good to hear. This is the bug you'll need for the radio. Report back if you pick up any intel, or manage to sneak the bug into their radio.
And with that, we get the quest Eye for an Eye. That sends us to Cottonwood Cove to perform some reconnaissance for the NCR. But we will save that for a future video on Cottonwood Cove and the slave trading that goes on there. Be sure to stay tuned for that video. I publish a new video 6 days a week, ladies and gentlemen, so if you're looking forward to my video on Cottonwood Cove and the slave trade of Caesar's Legion, be sure to subscribe and hit that bell notification button to get notified when I publish that video. What are your thoughts on Camp Searchlight, ladies and gents? I'm also interested to hear your thoughts on how Fallout New Vegas deals with radiation compared to how Fallout 4 decided to deal with radiation. I like the way Fallout 4 dealt with radiation, but if I'm honest, I'm more scared of radiation in New Vegas than I ever was in Fallout 4. I actually had a hard time shooting this video because I kept on dying to radiation as I ran out of Radaway. So I'm curious, I'd love to know your thoughts on that. Is there a specific New Vegas topic that you would love to have me cover? I read all of your comments and I am taking notes. Never fear, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go through Fallout New Vegas with a fine-toothed comb, just like I have been doing with Fallout 4. So make sure to leave your requests in the comments section below. And I've got a t-shirt shop, folks. If you would like an Oxhorn or Fallout 4 themed shirt, you can find a link to my shirt shop in the description below. And if you like what I do and you'd like to support me in a more personal way, consider becoming one of my patrons on Patreon. Patreon subscribers gain access to a private channel on my Discord server, as well as a bunch of other cool Oxhorn perks. But more than anything, ladies and gents, I am just so glad you're here watching this video with me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow morning, bright and early, with a brand new video.